Executing commands in AutoCAD requires that we enter a sequence of information depending upon the command. My command line, down here at the bottom of the screen, in its default location above the status bar, is my primary interface to communicate with AutoCAD. Now I have several ways that I can start commands. I can either pick them from the tool panels, my line command for example, or I can type in the name of the command from the keyboard, line, or I can enter the keyboard alias. Most of my commonly used commands have an alias of single or one or two letters. L, for example, will start my line command. And notice that down here on the command line it says line is active, specify the first point. If dynamic input is turned on, up here next to my cursor I'll also see the same information being displayed. My dynamic input is like a heads-up display that puts the information next to my cursor, easier for me to keep track of it. But it doesn't really replace the command line. We still need to be used to reading the command line. I'm going to turn dynamic input off from the status bar. And now it's asking me to input the location of the first point. I can either input coordinate values from the keyboard, or I could click the mouse and specify the first point. Now the command line says specify the next point. So I can continue to draw line segments each time I click the mouse. And down on the command line it's asking me what it wants me to do next, and in the brackets it's giving me some options. Close or undo are two options that I have at this point. Notice that the U is capitalized. The letter that's capitalized in the options is the keyboard alias to activate that option. So if I say U for undo and hit enter, it undoes the last line segment that I've drawn. If I use C from the keyboard and hit enter, it executes my close option, which will send my line back to its starting point to create a closed set of line segments. Let's look at the sequence of another command. This time from my modify menu I'm going to choose erase, and I look down on the command line. It says that erase is active and it's asking me to select objects. My cursor is now turned into a pick box, and you'll notice that as I drag it across the screen, when I come across one of these line segments, it will change color to show that it's been acquired by the pick box. If I click when it's acquired, then I can show that it's selected. It turns into a dotted line. On the command line it says that one object was found, and it asks me to continue to select objects. So I can continue to select line segments that I would like to erase, and I have to let AutoCAD know when I'm done selecting. It's telling me now that I have a total of 2 that have been selected. Now I can end this command and let AutoCAD know that I'm done selecting either by hitting enter or the space bar, or if I right click the mouse, it immediately executes the erase command on the objects that I had selected. Now you may have noticed that each time I enter a command, it moves up on the command line, and there's a scroll bar over here on the right, and I can actually scroll through and look at all of the previous command history, which makes up my drawing. If I wanted to see the command line box, I could hit F2 on the function keys, and it opens up my command line text window, and I can scroll through and look at all of the commands that have been used in that drawing up to that point. Now the command line box is also adjustable, so if I place my cursor over this top line, you notice that I can adjust it up or down. It's best to have at least 3 lines of the command line showing so that you can see information that's going to be given to you. For example, if I activate in the modify command my fillet command, for example, here it's telling me that the fillet is activated, and it tells me what the current settings are and then the command. So having these extra lines visible so that I can check and read this information, it's important to be able to see that on the command line. Now when I have a command active and I want to cancel that command, I can cancel that by either hitting escape on the keyboard, and sometimes I have to hit the escape key twice to completely get out of a command. or I can right click the mouse and cancel the command. Usually hitting enter will end the command, but it will execute it. Escape will cancel it. Now, one other behavior of our commands is that it will remember some of the activities that we've done and offer us an opportunity to repeat those. Let's look at our circle command for a moment. So I'm going to activate circle, and the command line is asking me to specify the center point, and I have some options. I'm going to click on the screen, and now it's asking me to specify the radius of the circle. So my default is radius, and I have the option of diameter. So if I enter 2 from the keyboard right now and hit enter, it will draw a circle with a 2-inch radius. Now I'm going to activate circle again. I can click it off the toolbar, or if I hit enter or the space bar, it repeats the last command. Or if I right click, notice at the top of my menu I have repeat circle, so I can always repeat the last command by hitting the space bar, enter, or right clicking. It says to specify the center point again, so I'm going to draw another circle, but this time notice that inside my greater than and less than symbols I have an amount. It remembers that the last circle that I drew was a 2-inch circle, and it's suggesting to me that that would be my default entry as far as size. So if I don't hit any numbers, I just hit enter to end the command, it automatically chooses 2 and draws another circle that same size.